Welcome to another week. Happy Monday. I'm really looking forward to this session today on nonviolent communication. I'm so curious if you have learned about nonviolent communication before, or if this is something that is brand new to you. You know, even even that term, nonviolent communication, is a funny one. I would prefer to call it speaking peace. We're learning how to communicate empathically. Conscious. Excuse me. I got a tickle in my throat. The concept of nonviolent communication is really about learning how to connect deeply in with our own feelings and needs, and then connecting in with the feelings and needs of somebody else and learning how to empathically communicate. Now, the premise of this is founded on the concept that we all have needs, and that the way that we can really engage actively in creating our own happiness and our own fulfillment is by learning how to communicate those needs, how to actually connect with our own needs, to honor them, and then to share them. But I think that, at least for myself, I didn't actually understand that I had needs for most of my adult life. And I also didn't, once I started to know that I had needs, I didn't have the confidence to actually be able to share them or feel that I even deserved to share them. Marshall Rosenberg is the founder of nonviolent communication, and he's got a bunch of books out and trainings on nonviolent communication. And he said something that was really powerful that has stuck with me. And I'm going to butcher this quote, but I've got it somewhere. That, not expressing our needs is the result of not expressing our needs is depression. So depression is essentially a condition of not having our needs met, not knowing how to actually communicate our needs, and not actually having those needs met. So I invite you to even consider for yourself whether or not you feel confident in knowing what your needs are on a moment-to-moment basis, or if, like me, you've struggled with that, if you've struggled with identifying what your needs are and then had difficulty actually expressing that and sharing that with others. For me, this shows up most specifically in intimate relationships, friendships, work relationships, anything where there's a potential for conflict, for differing needs, for differing desires. So in the meditation today, what we're actually going to do is explore how we can connect in with those needs and then learn how to apply that to a situation in our life where we feel like our needs aren't being met. And so this always starts with self first. So you've heard me chat about this before. I'm sure that this is something that you've experienced for yourself. Compassion begins with self. So in order to be compassionate with others, you have to first learn how to be compassionate with self. And the same is true for empathic understanding. So understanding our needs and then learning how to communicate them. And this shows up most specifically during times of conflict, during times where we're feeling like somebody isn't understanding us or we don't know how to express our needs. And this is really active for me right now, especially on such a global scale where we're really struggling to understand each other. We're struggling to understand the fears that are coming up for each individual person, how we're all being affected by what's going on in a very tenuous time, so where we feel a lack of safety. And as we start to get in touch with our own needs, we learn how to communicate them in a way that really honors the other person and their needs. And that might sound really simplistic, but it offers opportunity. It offers opportunity instead of demanding to asking for what we need. without requiring that the other person compromises their own needs. And so I'll talk a little bit more about this after, but I prefer to just kind of go into the experience of it so that we can explore it in the space of meditation, in the space where, our thinking mind isn't so active. So let's prepare for practice. It won't be a really long practice, but I'd like to make sure we get into some depth here. Oh, hi, Shelly. Yeah, me too, Shelly. Shelly shares that this is exactly what I need right now. Me too. Okay, so moving into a space of comfort. So whatever posture of meditation you choose, make sure that you have a lot of stability. So either your back is supported against something or you're leaning forward so your hips are tilted so that your spine is actually supported by your grounded hips. You'll notice that as soon as you find that position of stability, that posture of comfort, your lungs start to open. You're able to breathe a little bit easier. And your belly softens. Feel a lengthening in your spine all the way up the back of your neck, tucking your chin, lengthening through the top of your head. So feeling as though you're being pulled up just ever so slightly from the top of your head upwards. And so start to soften into the posture and into this present moment. Start to notice how you are feeling, what it feels like to be you right here, right now. What it feels like in your body, what it feels like in your mind, what it feels like in the deeper layers of consciousness, the spaces of possibility, the spaces of potential. Start to focus on your breathing. So just noticing the breath to begin with. Noticing the quality of your breath, how deep you are breathing, how shallow you are breathing. Notice if there are any places of catching, any places of discomfort. Can help to breathe in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Just to release any tension, any stored or held tension. And soften that belly. So if you're holding any tension in the belly, or if you're constricting those muscles, just see if you can relax them a little bit. So on your inhale, you allow the belly to expand, the diaphragm to move down, the belly to expand, the lungs to fill. And then as you exhale, release, allow the belly to sink back in, the chest to come back to neutral. So with every in-breath, you feel nourishment, you feel a softening come into the body. With every exhale, you're releasing and you're relaxing any tension, any places where you're holding or constricting. And in this way, you are offering compassion for yourself. You're holding space for your present moment experience. Being so gentle. And now, in this moment, as you settle into presence, as you settle into the meditation, I invite you to consider a situation in your life where you feel there's tension or conflict, where you feel like you are in relationship with somebody and there is conflict. There is a difficulty communicating. There's a difficulty in understanding each other. So bring that experience to your mind. Allow it to take space in your body. And almost immediately, I feel a little bit of tension enter my chest and my throat. So, however that shows up for you, just allow it to be there, knowing and trusting that we're going to be moving through the emotions. So, with this situation in mind, I invite you to consider what it is that you are feeling, how you feel in this situation. So, remember to use feeling words. I feel sad, I feel angry, frustrated, curious, disappointed, uncertain, overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, hopeless, hopeful. Just whatever feelings you're experiencing in your body right now, just identify those. And now identify the need that you have. So these feelings that are coming up are related to a need that exists underneath. The need to be connected, the need to feel safe, the need to feel heard and understood, the need to be supported, the need to share love, the need to be loved. Really get specific with your need. So we're linking our feeling and our need. We're holding compassion for ourselves. We're allowing ourselves to be open, to honor what is true for us. Sometimes the initial response to looking for a need is, oh, well, I don't have any needs, or that need isn't important. But that's not this practice. The practice is to identify the need. No matter how silly it might seem or how ridiculous it might feel to share this with others, we're just identifying it with ourselves first. So I'm noticing for myself, I'm imagining this situation where I really strongly desire, a depth of communication, a depth of understanding that sometimes I feel it just isn't possible in a relationship. And that need underneath is to really explore the depths of consciousness, to explore the depths of who I am and to learn and grow with another human being. And that's something that would scare me to say to another person. But that's what's true for me. That's what's showing up. So just notice what is showing up for you. And just notice how Your body shifts and changes when you identify the need associated with that emotion. For me, I can immediately start to breathe a little bit deeper just by identifying my own need. I hadn't even communicated with another person yet, but I've chosen to honor what is true for me. And that alone is that first step, that first essential honoring. And now, in the situation, I'd like you to turn the tables and look at the other person. And without compromising your emotions or needs at all, just put those on pause for a moment and look specifically at the other person and notice what they might be feeling. What might they be feeling in that situation? We have this ability to mirror, to actually experience that of the other, because we really do share the same experience. We are connected, we are the same. And so just notice the feelings that they might be having. And so I can feel, a little bit of a fear arising, fear and, oh my goodness, am I doing this right? The fear of, being not good enough. So just notice what is arising for you in the other person, what they might be feeling. And again, trusting that we're going to be moving through the process and that these feelings won't stay. They're just meant to show us what is happening, what is true. And then next, let's identify the need of the other person. So, what might be the need underneath these emotions? What do they need? What are these emotions revealing for them? So, I'm noticing in my situation a need to be accepted, a need to be trusted, a need to be honored for who they are. And again, notice as the needs become more clear how the emotions start to shift and change. How identifying the needs really shifts the experience of the emotion because the emotion is designed to point to the truth, to point to the needs. And so, as soon as we identify them, as soon as we bring those to the light, the emotions dissipate, the emotions move through as they're meant to. This is really important information because oftentimes we will get stuck in emotion. We will start to feel something and it's uncomfortable. So we hold on to it. We think that burying it or suppressing it is the answer. But I'm suggesting that identifying needs will help you to continue to move the emotion. And so now you've identified your feelings, your needs, and that of the other. You've experienced both. And so, can you imagine a new way of relating, a new way of sharing both your feelings, your needs, and honoring those of the other? So, once you start to identify, you can really speak peace. You can speak with understanding and empathetic openness. So I can imagine in my situation, I can say, I'm feeling a little bit sad because I crave depth of connection. Notice there's no blaming, there's no bringing the other person into it. It's just really honoring my feelings, my needs. And then turning to the other, and you can ask them, how does that make you feel? And then that opens up a whole different conversation. And then you can mirror back to them perhaps what you're observing. It seems like you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed or fearful that there's a lack of acceptance. Wonder if that fear is really pointing to a need for acceptance, no matter what, unconditional love. Just notice how that starts to feel in your body when you communicate the language of feelings, the language of needs. And so I'll stop talking for a little bit just so that you can have some space to have that dialogue, that conversation within you. Notice when you come to a natural completion. Oftentimes, the body will signify it for you, when there's a deep breath or a sigh or a relaxing into a posture. I invite you to draw your hands to your heart, to honor this practice that you have engaged in, this practice of curiosity, of speaking peace, of identifying needs and emotions. And I invite you to draw this new learning into the rest of your day, to draw in this understanding that every emotion points to a need. Whenever an emotion arises, it's a signal that it's time to take pause and look at what is needed. Take pause and identify the need. At first, it might be difficult. I know it was for me. I had to take very long pauses. Sometimes, an emotion would arise. I'd have no idea where it came from. I'd have to sit with it or do a meditation for an hour. Or sometimes it would be over a course of days. I would journal about it. I would speak to others, and then it would make sense. Be so gentle with yourself. There's no rush. There's no need to push through. Let's take 3 deep breaths together to signify the end of practice. So inhale through the nose. Exhale at the mouth. 2 more. Last one, completely release and relax. Good. Feeling into the edges of your body again. Feeling into the space around you. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'm still learning this method of communication. But I felt a really strong need over the last month to learn new ways of understanding because there's just such a lack of understanding. And it's such a powerful tool when we can really get clear on our own needs and where those emotions and those feelings are really pointing to. And, in our meditative practice, we identified the feelings and the needs of another person. But in actuality, when you're actually with that person, if you have that opportunity, the practice is to ask them how they're feeling, to ask them what they need. And if they're not able to identify it, you can reflect just like we did, and you can offer, well, it seems like you might be feeling this. It seems like you might be needing this. Is that true? So it's an opportunity for exploration. It's an opportunity for looking at new ways of interacting, of engaging, of moving into deeper intimacy with each other. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for practicing. What a gift to be together in meditative practice. I wish you such a beautiful week to come, and I look forward to connecting again soon. Bye.